What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome to another video. Today we are going to be going over how to pull a motor from a 1995 Mark IV Toyota Supra. We're doing this for a couple different reasons. Number one, I'm an idiot and I decided that I was a tuning genius and tried to tweak a couple things, and now I'm about 94% certain I screwed something up internally. Hopefully it's not catastrophic, we'll see. Number two, there's actually a couple other things that I wanted to do to the engine anyway, and that's gonna be a lot easier to do with it out of the car. So we're gonna go ahead and jump into that today. Now, this thing has been pretty extensively modified. I mean, the only two stock parts left on the car really are gonna be the transmission and the carrier. Pretty much everything else has been replaced. So if you're doing this on a stock car, I will go over a couple of those differences. Let's go ahead and get after it, jump right in, show you guys how to go and take this thing out of here. All right, first thing we need to do is pull the exhaust off. Next up, we're pulling the drive shaft off. Now, on this one, this is a one-piece PHR unit. So all I'm gonna do is I got these Allen key bolts right here. Got 4 of those guys. We're gonna go pull them off, just slide this back. If you got a stock drive shaft, probably what I'd recommend is unbolting it from both the front and rear and dropping the donut, just make your life easier. This car has a drive shaft safety loop in it, so we're just gonna go and rest it right on this. So now that we got this guy separated, what we're gonna do, you don't really need to do this, but I like to, is come over here and pull the shifter off. We got 1 bolt down here. That one's gonna be pretty easy, and then we got, I believe, 4 more up top, if I'm not mistaken. The only reason I'm doing this is just because I don't wanna go and gouge the shifter as we are pulling this out of here, because it is an original C's unit. There you have it, super simple. Got these 4 little bolts right there, 1 right there, shifter's out. All right, next up, I already loosened these obviously. Next up we're gonna go and pull the slave cylinder off, just kind of tucked out of the way here. Pro tip with these or any bolt, if it's super stuck and you can't quite break the torque on it, if you tighten it, that'll actually break the torque and then you can go back it off. So it makes it a lot easier, that way you don't have to go and shear any bolts or anything crazy like that. There we go, on to the next thing. Next up is the oil and the coolant. While this is finishing up, we're gonna go ahead and remove the lower radiator hose as well as the intercooler pipes. On the hot side, I'm just gonna go ahead and remove the whole thing. On the cold side, I'm just gonna remove the black one that goes up to the throttle body and then leave this little turnaround pipe here. So as you can see, we got our intercooler pipes removed, got that hose and stuff disconnected on this side. I did go ahead and disconnect the fans and stuff while we're down here. Next thing we're gonna do is pull this fuel line off right here. I do have it already disconnected in the back just so that way it doesn't wind up acting as a siphon and dumping everything in the tank out of the car. So we're gonna go ahead and disconnect this. After that is out, we're gonna go and disconnect this right here. This is our left motor mount. Swing over to this side and we got our right side motor mount as well. Once those are both off, I'm probably gonna go and disconnect this dump tube here as well, just because where it sits in here, I just don't want it to get all dinged up and jacked up as I go and pull this out. That is gonna be it for underneath the car. Got everything disconnected right now. I am gonna go and leave the transmission mount on for the time being. This is gonna be the very last piece we pull off, only because if I do it right now, then the whole thing is gonna droop and that'll make it a little harder to disconnect some of the stuff up on the top side. So we're gonna leave that for right now. We will be disconnecting that here shortly. But yeah, that's it for right now. So let's go ahead and jump up to the top side of the car and start disconnecting some more stuff. All right, I'm a bit of an idiot. I went and opened my garage door here and proceeded to dump drywall dust all over everything. Not that this thing was particularly clean in the first place. However, doing that definitely didn't do it any favors. I got just this white stuff everywhere now. So, yeah, oops. All right, first up, we're gonna pull the battery and the rad. Look at all this room now. All right, so next thing we're gonna do is pull off this intercooler pipe as well as the throttle cable going onto the throttle body right here. Gonna pull off these 2 lines going over to the catch can over on the passenger side, as well as this intake right here. Once that's all done, I will pick you guys up here in just a couple minutes. Now that that's all done, I'm gonna be coming over here to the passenger side of the car. We're gonna be disconnecting the downpipe. It's just a super simple little V-band clamp right here. Also gotta go and disconnect the O2 sensor. And after that, I'm gonna be disconnecting all these little vacuum lines here that go to things like the boost control solenoid, as well as up under here on the compressor outlet and our wastegates here. All right, next thing we're gonna do is pull off the wiring harness. Now, if you have a stock car or if you have a stock wiring harness, this is going to be dramatically different. If you've been watching my videos for a while, you know that I have the tweaked harness complete with the mil-spec firewall connector. So all you gotta do is come right over here to the wiring harness and twist this thing off one. There we go. And there's two. Once you pull these two things off, they just kind of twist off counterclockwise right like that. You can go and pull the harness right up over here. And then swing around to the driver's side. You got these two connectors right on the bottom of the fuse box. They need to go and come off. Then there's also a ground right down there that also needs to come off. Looking down here on the wiring harness, I know it's a little out of focus, but you've actually got a power steering plug right here. And then right over here, we got one that runs to the AC compressor. So this one right here, as you can see, goes all the way back. This is gonna be the power from the battery over to the starter. And this one is going to be a ground, which just goes and connects to the block over here. Two other things to disconnect over here on the passenger side is gonna be our boost solenoid, which is gonna be right down here. And then we also gotta go and pull this, I think it's a grounding strap, not really sure, off the alternator right here. And this is just a simple 12 mil bolt, just pops right out. And then all the rest of this runs up and over, alternator staying on, so we're not gonna disconnect the rest of those wires. Now, if you happen to be working with either a stock car or at the very least a stock harness, the connectors over here on this side are gonna be basically the same. You got the two under the fuse box, and then you're gonna have a ground over here too. Coming over here to the firewall side though, this is where it's gonna be different, okay? You gotta go and pull these two bolts out. Then after those are out, you swing over here to the passenger side of your car. And then you pull back both your floor mat as well as this thing. And you got this hard plastic piece right here. Once you pull that off, it's just a couple of 10mm bolts. All right, you pull that off and then you go and disconnect your harness. And then there's also a couple other connectors over here on this side for, I believe, the traction control and like one other thing. Once those are disconnected, that's kind of where the fun starts. You basically got to go and snake it up through what's referred to the chimney, which is right back here. So basically you would just go and take your stock harness and lift up on it and then pull until all of the connectors and stuff pop out of this little hole right back behind here. Once those are off, you're gonna wanna go and disconnect the heater core over here. I actually just looped mine because I haven't had it connected for a while. Yeah, so I don't have to do that here, but just know that if you do have heat and everything like that, you're gonna need to go and pull these two coolant lines off right back here before you proceed. The next thing is definitely done a little bit more easily if you've got two people. I'm gonna throw you guys on the tripod right quick, but we're gonna need to go and pull the hood off because you really don't have enough room with it on there. All you're gonna do, I know I got these hoodless struts and everything like that on here, but this is gonna be the same regardless. You just got two bolts on either side, so you got 4 total. Pull these guys off here, and then the hood is just gonna lift straight off. Piece of cake. So this next bit is gonna be a little bit different for most of you. I never bothered recharging the air conditioning last time I had the motor out. So there's still no Freon at all in the system. So all I'm gonna do is go ahead and pull off the 2 hard lines. What a lot of you guys are gonna wanna do is actually unbolt the compressor and just let it sit on a subframe. That way you can go keep all the Freon in your AC system. All right, so for the AC compressor, when you guys go to pull this off, you got a bolt here, you got one here, you got a bolt right here. Then after those 3 are off, you're gonna swing around here to this side, and we got this guy right here. This is just a little stud. I think there's probably supposed to be a nut on it, but I obviously didn't put that back on. So all you're gonna do is pull those bolts off and then gently set the AC compressor down on the subframe, and then you can proceed to the next step. Another thing I'm gonna be doing a little bit differently is I'm gonna actually come through and unbolt the power steering pump and then just let that flop off, mostly because I'm super lazy. I don't wanna drain the reservoir and then I have to go through all the hassle of rebleeding a system and blah, 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 blah. All right, that is it for disconnecting stuff. The next thing we gotta do is gonna be hooking up the picker and then hopefully not turning this video into a meme of testing the maximum tensile strength of everything I forgot to disconnect. There is one more thing we gotta pull off. You'll remember that it is a transmission mount. So once we go ahead and get the picker hooked up and get a little tension on that, I will go ahead and pull off the trans mount. Let's get to it.
A few minutes later.
All right, so here's a problem I didn't quite anticipate. So motor's pretty much out. Yeah, that's like way tight. So I think what I'm gonna do is grab the trans, pull it this way, and then hopefully I can go and lower the boom just enough to where I can go and finagle this thing out in the back end here. The main problem right now is the slope of my driveway. So yeah, more to come. Got the motor over here. Gonna be lowering it down onto this guy here in just a second. And yeah, that is how you pull a motor out of a 1995 Mark IV Toyota Supra. Hope you guys liked it. If you have any questions, feel free to hit me up in the comment section below. Next video, we're gonna be tearing into this thing to see what exactly I screwed up and go from there. So other than that, I will see you guys very soon in the next one. Catch y'all next time.